Hello and welcome to our video on the Science Olympiad Bridge Building Competition. Today we'll tell you about the history of bridges, the physics behind bridges, how to build a bridge, and how to test a bridge.
The first signs of bridge building were in 4000 BC by the Babylonian society. The design was a 10-meter wide and 220-meter long single brick arch. As bridge building technology advanced, society began integrating wood into the designs of their bridges. It was in 783 BC when timber bridges were first introduced and built over the Euphrates in Babylon. This kind of bridge construction is similar to the Scioly bridge competition, in which teams must construct their bridges entirely out of wood. Wooden bridges quickly gained popularity because of how easily accessible and transported they were. However, as time went on, society's view on wooden bridges shifted, seeing as they weren't able to withstand environmental conditions and were easily damaged. Nowadays, we often use concrete and steel to construct bridges because of their strength and durability. And while wooden bridges aren't as commonly made, there is still so much that can be learned from them when it comes to engineering.
Woo!
The two types of woods that we use are balsa and bass. But before choosing which one you want, it's important to consider the pros and cons of each. For balsa, the pros are it's lightweight, it's cheaper, it's easier to cut and sand, and it changes mass in different humidity. The balsa cons are that it's weaker and it has an inconsistent density. Bass pros are that it's stronger, it holds together better at joints, doesn't crush, and it maintains the same strength throughout the stick. Bass cons are that it's heavier and it's more expensive. Typically, we construct our bridges with a mix of balsa and basswood, but mostly balsa because it's lightweight, which helps to conserve weight since our bridge design features many pieces. However, depending on the design of your bridge, bass might be a good option if you're going for strength rather than intricacy. For example, the tensions on our bridges are made with skinny pieces of basswood because it's important that those pieces maintain their strength. Failure modes. So one way our bridges might fail is because of one or more of our bridge members breaking. One cause of this could be because the wood used wasn't very strong or thick enough. It could also be because it was put under too much compression. In our bridge designs, we put the legs under compression, so we needed to make sure that those pieces weren't super long because the longer the piece of wood, the less compression it can hold, which causes it to bend and buckle. Another way our bridges failed was because of joint failure. This can be caused by using a weak joint design, for example using a butt joint instead of a lap joint, which is a lot stronger since they can't be pulled apart as easily. It can also be caused by not properly securing the joint, so not having enough glue or it not in place. Another way our bridges might fail is because of instability. This can come from a number of things, such as an uneven load distribution, so pouring the sand all to one side and not evening out the bucket. It can also be caused by a swinging bucket, which impacts how the force is pulling on the bridge. This is why it's important to have someone there to hold the bucket and stabilize it. Another way our bridge might fail is because of dynamic loading. This is pouring the sand at an uneven pace, so dropping large loads of sand instead of a steady pour, which allows the sand to accelerate before hitting the bucket, increasing the force on the bridge.
This is how you strip the wood for your side beam. You want to make sure that it is the same width you want your side beams to be. Then you're going to line up the flat edge against the edge of your wood. Go across the wood with your balsa stripper. Come out with a nice flat piece of wood. Then you want to cut the edges of your wood piece so that they will all line up once you glue them together. Then you do the same thing to the other side. Now we have two perfect bridge side beams. To make sure that we can have another half of our bridge, we'll do the same thing with this piece. Now we have all four of our side beams. Let's make the top piece. Now we have most of our bridge. We just need to make the tension. Now you're ready to glue it all together.
A key component of our bridge design is the gondola in the center of our bridge. This gondola is where the loading block rests and is continually being pulled down. This distributes the weight throughout each of the bridge's members, forcing it to expand outward, which is why we have a lot of the tension pieces keeping it in. The gondola is connected to the bridge by vertical tension pieces and a gusset joint added to a lap joint, which adds to the strength and reinforces the glue. Because the gondola forces the bridge down, it puts the legs in compression. Compression is when there is a balanced inward force on a material, so when something is pushed together, while tension forces stretch materials and pull them in opposite direction. For example, the base of our bridge features 2 tension pieces connected to the legs of our bridge by a lap joint. Once the weight is added, the legs of the bridge start to pull apart, which is why we have this piece of wood, keeping it from spreading and helping it maintain its form.
Now we're going to test our bridge. This is our testing structure. These 2 blocks are exactly 45 centimeters apart, and this hole in the middle is where we hang the bucket to test. The first thing we do before we test is weigh our bridge. Looks like our bridge is exactly 20 grams. Now we're going to attach the loading block and then the bucket so that we can test. Okay, before we touch the sand, we're always going to put our safety goggles on. These sticks are to hold the bucket steady, but you can only touch the bucket with the 2 white tips.
I'm about to start pouring.
Our bridge's sides are created with tensions in the shape of an X, which prevents the sides from twisting, holding the structure together and keeping it from expanding, making the bridge both strong and sturdy.
Yes.
Looks like our bridge gondola did not do too well. Now we're going to remove any of the wood pieces left in the bucket and we're going to weigh it. Wow, look at that. 14.9 kilograms.
Okay, so this is the load carried in grams, and we're gonna divide that by the weight of the bridge, which was 20 grams. And that gives us an efficiency of 745.
Thank you for watching our video for our Science Olympiad bridge building competition. We hope you learned something, and don't forget to join Group G.